Hi, live streamers. Welcome. We're really looking forward to this Friday today with Lisa Natoli, and I'm looking forward to what she's going to share with us. And real quick, I want to shorten the announcements a little bit. So just real quick, I want to say that here at Unity on the River, Michael Murdad will be here on Sunday. So if you are interested in watching, listening to a great teacher of A Course in Miracles, a guy that's really funny, and he's spot on with his teaching, Michael Murdad. He'll be here on Sunday, and if you can't be here in person, you can live stream at Unity on the River. So that's available. And then also, if you go to teachersofgod.org, you can jump into the 40-day program or one of our other programs. And Lisa is launching a Byron Katie book study on October 2nd, right? And I'm launching a Rupert Spira book study on October the 4th. So you guys can go to our websites, lisanatoli.com, and you can find out about her book study club, and you can go to my website, billfree.com, and you can find out about my book study club, and I'd be happy to have you join me, and she'd be happy to have you join her. And what else do we have for announcements? The conference. Oh, we have 10 tickets left that are discounted, $50 off of the conference in San Francisco in February. You can go to teachersofgod.org and you can click on Love, what is it called? Love. It's
under teachersofgod.org.
Yeah. Yeah, under events. It's something love, something about love is the theme of the conference. But we have 10 tickets left where you can have $50 off your tickets, and I think if you register like now, today or tomorrow, you get $25 a day off of your hotel room, which can be, you know, $150 if you're there for 6 days, or $125 for 5 days. So if you're interested in that, go to teachersofgod.org and look under events. And we're going to ask Jane to come up and give us a thought for the day. Thank you, Jane, for being here and for doing this.
Good morning, everyone. For today, September 22nd, from the Cafe Gratitude book, creation is a cheerleader, a champion for and of itself and all its parts. And the question below is, what blessing could you acknowledge today? And the blessing I'd like to acknowledge today is to Bill and Lisa for opening all our hearts and their dedication to the work that they do. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. We love you. And we love all of you, and we want to express that love a little bit with our meet and greet. So just for a couple minutes, we're going to stand and we're going to greet each other with a namaste, a little hug if you want to. And live streamers will be right back. You can go to the bathroom, get a cup of coffee, or we'll see you in a minute.
In 5 minutes.
Okay, we're going to get back now. We're going to come back to our seats, everyone, please.
Hey, David.
Hey, how are you? Okay, we're going to get started, please. Can we have our seats? Okay. So, the opening thought for the day was that creation is our cheerleader, and that is so true. If we just step out of the way, creation will lead the way. And we have another cheerleader, and we love her very much. Her mom is in the house today. Debbie is here. But we also have a cheerleader we all love and adore, and her name is Lisa Natoli. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Lisa Natoli. Are you on?
Am I on?
Yep.
Awesome. Are you guys on?
We're on. We're being
All right, welcome. So happy you guys showed up this morning. Yes, my mom's in the house. I want her to come up. Mom? I put everyone on the spot here. I want you all to meet my mom. Oh, this is my mom, Debbie, and just so grateful because she is really become my very best student. And she's doing the work. She's training her mind, and I love you.
I love
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Yay, Debbie!
We drove down this morning and we solved all the world's problems on the way down here.
Thank you.
So today I want to talk about changing beliefs and training your mind to stop hurting yourself. So who here is not familiar at all with A Course in Miracles? I think everyone here knows it. And I welcome you live streamers. And to me, A Course in Miracles is mind training. I know everyone has a different way of describing what it is. To me, it's the training. And what I want to go through today is lesson 132, which is talking about how powerful your beliefs are. Beliefs are powerful indeed. And they literally are creating everything you think you see. And what I want to do is I want to go back also to the very early lessons. And it's incredible when you see that Jesus, who's the author of A Course in Miracles, starts you literally from the gate with the mind training. And I want to go to lesson 4, and I want to show you, he says training your mind 3 times on day 4. So you're only on day 4 of the workbook lessons, and he's already telling you this is to train you to watch your thoughts. And what I want to go through today is I want us to find some of the beliefs that you have, and I want to show you how simple it is to change them. And that's what my mom and I did this morning on the way down here. She was telling me a story about a situation in her life, and all the mind wants to do is to fix the situation. Like, if only I can change the situation. So she said, I have this thing upcoming, and here's what I would like to suggest that is done so that thing changes. I said, well, no, let's look at what's actually going on beyond you changing it. And she found out all these beliefs that were there. And it's just finding out where you think you're located in the story, in the situation, which is your point of viewing. So we all have a point upon which we're viewing the world. That's your point of viewing. It's a location. And most of us are located in the thought system of fear. So when you're located in the thought system of fear, everything that you think you see is a reflection of the space where you've located yourself. So a miracle is a shift to a new state of mind. It's a new state of looking. You're shifting your point to love. So a miracle, this is so easy Once you see how easy it is, you'll be astonished. A miracle is a shift from form to content. What does that mean? So the world of form includes everything that you think you see, including the body. The body is part of the form. And we think that this is what we are, right? We think we're the body. But you're not a body, you're the love of God. That's the content. So a shift from form, from looking out, thinking someone has to change, thinking you have to change, shifting from that to the content, which is the love. That's the peace, does that make sense to everybody? So I'm just going to start off with just a let's just start off with a prayer. And prayer is nothing more than a song of gratitude. It's a song of thanks to God for what you are. And I'm so grateful that we're here together. And Jesus, the mind that is your mind, reminds us that for every instant that we spend together, remembering the truth, 1,000 minds wake up and 1,000 years are saved. All because of you. And so I give thanks to you who are here with a willingness to open your mind, a willingness to be the love that you are. You don't have to know how. You just have to have the willingness to be present like a child. And the light that you are is supporting you in this. And so we dedicate this day to joy, to celebration, and to love. Amen. What? Oh, I'm going to lesson 132 first. And I love this lesson. And it's... Who's done the workbook lessons here? Who's completed them? Okay. And who's done the workbook lesson and is totally experiencing joy all the time?
Mostly.
Okay. Because there's a reason for that, because it's a daily practice. And so often I hear people say, I did the workbook lessons, I don't need to do them again. But if you're experiencing any grievances, any upset, any sadness, you need mind training. It's kind of like being totally out of shape and saying, but I did a diet 3 years ago. But you're eating totally unhealthy now and you're not working out. It doesn't make any sense to do that. So if you've done the workbook lessons and you're still feeling stuck, and it's not bad that you get stuck, but more and more you have practices now where you no longer blame other people for things, you're no longer projecting your own guilt onto others. You're doing the work, you're catching when you have a belief, and you have the willingness to challenge it, to look at it, to own it. That's mind training. And so it says here, let's see, lesson 132, I loosed the world from all I thought it was. What keeps the world in chains but your beliefs? And what can save the world except yourself, capital S? Belief is powerful indeed. The thoughts you hold are mighty, and illusions are as strong in their effects as is the truth. So what you think you see seems real, right? It's mighty indeed. These are just illusions, but it seems very solid. And it says, A madman thinks the world he sees is real and does not doubt it, nor can he be swayed by questioning his thoughts, effects. It is but when their source is raised to question that the hope of freedom comes to him at last. Yet is salvation easily achieved, for anyone is free to change his mind and all his thoughts change with it. Now, the reason I went to lesson 132 this week is because of Jim Carrey. So I don't know if you guys are on Facebook, but Jim Carrey has been really out there speaking the truth. And he went to New York Fashion Week last week in a $4,000 Tom Ford jacket, dressed to the nines, and he knew what he was going to go do there. And he showed up at Fashion Week, and he's been having experiences of reality since, I know he's been speaking about it since 2009, so sometime before then. And he's had an experience when he was the character for the Andy Kaufman movie. I guess there's a Netflix documentary out about him right now, or it's in the works, it's coming. But he played Andy Kaufman, who's a bit schizophrenic actor. I think was he on Cheers? Yeah. He was way out. He's way out there. And so Taxi, yep. And Jim Carrey played Andy Kaufman, and when he was preparing to play that role, he realized how deeply he went into the Andy Kaufman character and how that's what we do in our lives. That was like his aha moment, that the Jim Carrey character is also a character that he perfected. And it's not real, just like the Andy Kaufman character he was playing is just pretend. He was just pretending. We've been pretending the character that we've been playing. And so he went on Fashion Week and he said, who saw it? Did anybody see that interview? And he said, the interviewer thinks I'm interviewing Jim Carrey and he's going to say something, you know, funny or, yeah. And Jim says, I decided to find the most ridiculous thing, meaningless thing that I could and show up to it. You didn't see it? It's so funny. And he basically is saying, this is meaningless. This is totally, utterly ridiculous and meaningless. And he's dressed to the nine. I didn't know it was a Tom Ford coat until I went and searched it, because I was like, okay, I got to find. It cracked me up that he played that character in Fashion Week, knowing what he was going to do. And what he said was, that's the place that you get here in the world, is you know yourself in reality as light. And now you're just like an avatar in the video game, and you can do whatever you want. Like you can be free. So he decides to dress up in a Tom Ford $4,000 jacket in Fashion Week to go declare the truth. And ever since then, they've been interviewing him all over. And he's been talking about his awakening. He's been talking about that it's time. No one needs to suffer. And he talks about how he used to be depressed. He was on all sorts of medications, and they just fell away. And this is all we've been talking about in here with the Course in Miracles, is that you don't have to make your problems go away. They literally will fall away when you identify consistently with the light that you are. And it goes for addictions, it goes for everything. So you don't have to figure out how to make all your difficulties drop off. You just have to have a practice to remember who you are. And he said the depression went away, I got off the drugs, and he said something that made me question if he knew A Course in Miracles. So he said, I don't exist. And I was like, he does exist. And that it set a bell off in my head, because I'm always looking at what is your I am. So when he said I don't exist, it made me think he doesn't know A Course in Miracles, because he's the only thing in the universe that does exist. You are the only thing in the universe that does exist. Not your body, not your personality, you. The light that you are. But then I thought, I think he's just talking about the Jim Carrey character for purposes of the interview. And that is what he was.
This is not real.
Exactly. So he was, and he does know A Course in Miracles, but it made me want to know where it was in A Course in Miracles, and it's in lesson 132. So that's what made me come to this lesson this week and want to come here and share it. So he says, today our purpose is to free the world from all the idle thoughts we ever held about it and about all living things we see upon it. They cannot be there no more than we, for we are in the home our Father set for us along with them, and we who are as He created us would loose the world this day from every one of our illusions that we may be free. Begin the 15-minute periods in which we practice twice today with this. I, who remain as God created me, would loose the world from all I thought it was. For I am real, because the world is not, and I would know my own reality. I am real. I, the light, not Lisa Natoli. Lisa Natoli is the character. I, the light. So now you get to choose where your identification is going. Is it going on your personality, your image, your body? Or is it identifying with the love that you are? And so now it's just a choice. That's the mind training. And so I want us to each just take a moment now, and I want you to just think about some of your beliefs that you hold about yourself, because beliefs are powerful indeed. They hold the world you think you see in chains. So everyone just close your eyes for a moment, and I want you to think about a situation that's troubling to you. I want you to think about your beliefs about yourself. Just take a minute. And so now you can open your eyes. And I want to really just see, and this is just for you to look within, can you loose those ideas about yourself? And I want to tell you that for many, it's not easy. It's like they're so deep-rooted, and this is what Jesus says, is your beliefs about yourself are so deep-rooted. And so the foundation has to be rebuilt with new ideas about yourself. And what he said is you actually have to be uprooted. Like it has to be, you can't dig bigger roots or deeper roots. It has to be, the whole thing has to go. And so, does anyone want to share or want to come up here and share anything and do a process? No? Like what? You don't have to. You can say no. Okay. I don't even know what I'm going to do, but. Where's the mic? This is Gail.
Yes.
Welcome.
Repeat back some of the things that I was thinking about myself.
Yep.
Okay, so
Can you get close?
Sure. The first thing that came to mind was that I'm not smart, that I don't do anything right, I don't have a special talent, that I'm not going to be able to get through a situation that has been troubling me for a long time, and that I need things outside of myself to be happy and content.
Yeah. And she's standing in front of us, the brilliance that you are. And so thank you for the courage to come up here. So I'm not smart enough. Okay, so we're going to really see, like, okay, that's just a belief. And what the mind training does, and this is where I want to go to lesson 4, and this is, and it's so interesting because, like, you know, Byron Katie, who I think is totally brilliant, and I'm going to be doing a book study with her. She has a process which I love. You know, her whole thing is the 4 questions. Is it true? And then you would take yourself through a process. Jesus does it a little bit differently, and neither is like right or wrong. But this one is different. And all he's inviting us to do is to say, these thoughts do not mean anything. And so let's go through them again. I'm not smart. And you simply say,
These thoughts don't mean anything.
and the next one.
That I'm not good at anything. These thoughts don't mean anything. That I don't have a special talent. These thoughts don't mean anything. That I won't be able to get through what I'm struggling with. These thoughts don't mean anything. And that I need something outside of myself to feel whole. These thoughts don't mean anything.
And that's like it. Like, and we're only on day 4 here. And so from here, what we do is then this clears away. Like when you just say, you really say it. Now, what I want to know, when you say it, these thoughts do not mean anything, what comes up for you?
The awareness that I'm attaching a judgment to the thought, that it's just a thought, that it doesn't make it true.
Okay, and what happens now to the belief I'm not smart enough?
It doesn't exist.
Is that true? For real? Like when I'm asking you?
True.
So now you know that you are smart enough.
Right.
And what happens to the second one?
That's not true either. It's something I'm telling myself that's not true.
And so this is what Jesus is saying, and don't go anywhere yet. Thank you so much. Because this is why I love A Course in Miracles, because there is light in these ideas. The idea, I get chills, these thoughts do not mean anything when you apply them. So often what happens is people aren't actually doing the work. They're not applying the lesson. They're reading the lesson, they're kind of skipping through the pages, but they're not actually locating the thought, first of all, which you have done, and then you apply the lesson. So now tell me some good things about yourself.
I'm kind.
Okay.
I am love. I'm caring. I am light.
Okay, so now what Jesus tells us is that we're going to apply the lesson also to those thoughts also. Now you have some thoughts in there which actually are true, but we're not gonna go with that. So now we're gonna do it with the good thoughts. I am kind.
Those thoughts don't mean anything?
That's right.
I don't like this part.
But that's so good that she hear that. I don't like this part. Okay? And what he says in here is this training will bring up resistance in you. So I am love.
Those thoughts don't mean anything. It feels weird.
I know, but see, this is where all that this is happening, that actually is a true thought. I am love is a true thought. But what Jesus as the teacher here. Does everyone understand what I say when Jesus as the teacher who wrote the Course? Is that mind that is your mind, the Christ mind, put this message into time and space into a book. And so he's working with us now. He's training us to know ourselves. And what he says in the early stages on day 4 of the workbook lessons is that we don't yet know how to make the distinction between the true and the false. So he says in the beginning stages, just apply it to all. Like apply it to your good thoughts and your bad thoughts. Because what he says here, he uses the word training 3 times in lesson 4. He says, you will find if you train yourself to look at your thoughts that they represent such a mixture that in a sense none of them can be called good or bad. That is why they do not mean anything. In selecting subjects for the application of today's idea, the usual specificity is required. So you're being specific. You are being very specific. And that is so good. And that thought doesn't mean anything. Do not be afraid to use good thoughts as well as bad. None of them are your real thoughts, which are being covered up by them. This is so amazing. I want you guys to hear what he says here. Day 4, okay? And he uses quotes, quote unquote. The quote unquote good ones of which you are aware, I am kind, are but shadows of what lies beyond. And shadows make sight difficult. The bad ones are blocks to sight and make seeing impossible. You don't want either. This is a major exercise and will be repeated from time to time in somewhat different form. The aim here is to train you. So there's the word train for the second time in this lesson. In the first steps toward the goal of separating the meaningless from the meaningful, it is a first attempt in the long-range purpose of learning to see, I love this, the meaningless as outside you and the meaningful within. So even your body is outside you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're not the body. You're free. So it's not a concept anymore. Does that make sense? So now you're beginning to see that any concepts that you have about, and your personality is outside of you, because your personality is tied in with the body. So you begin to see that any ideas you have about your body, your personality, your image are totally meaningless. I'm a good person. Totally meaningless. That is a shadow of what lies beyond, and shadows make sight difficult. This is a first attempt in the long-range purpose of learning to see the meaningless outside you and the meaningful within. It is also the beginning of training, third time he says it, your mind to recognize what is the same and what is different. In using your thoughts for application of the idea for today, identify each thought by the central figure or event that it contains. And the reason I like A Course in Miracles, it's fill in the blanks. It's literally for like 5-year-olds. This thought about blank does not mean anything. And it says, do not, however, examine your mind for more than a minute or so. You are too inexperienced as yet to avoid a tendency to become pointlessly preoccupied. Do not repeat these exercises more than 3 or 4 times during the day. We will return to them later. So, I thank you with all my heart for that, Gail. Give her a hand. And then, was that helpful for you guys? Because you can begin to see that you're simply training it's not a miracle, you're just training. You're training your mind to be aware in every moment of what you're thinking, what you're feeling, what you're experiencing, what you're saying. And you start to get good at it. You start to really see when the mind is picking up a story from the past or is thinking about something in the future. Now, where are those things? They're outside of you. That's meaningless. You're beginning to tell the difference between the meaningless and the meaningful. So the major thing really in the way humans live their life is that something has to change. They have to change. I have to change. But you are changeless. You are the eternal, changeless reality. And so that's it. That's where you come back to this place where you're saying, okay, what's my identification? And the reason I love Byron Katie so much, and I'm super excited for this book study group, this new book is really, it's her best ever, Mind at Home with Itself, is her whole teaching is no matter what seems to be happening, no matter what, that there's a space for total joy, and that's it. Loving what is. So it doesn't matter if you're sick, if you don't have any money, if there's things falling apart around you, if there's problems. There's you right there in the midst of it, in the total delight and the wonder that you're there for it. Does that make sense? So you're no longer trying to change your body anymore. You're not trying to change other people. All you're doing is becoming aware of when the mind starts thinking something has to change. And Jesus is saying, if you think anything needs to change, the only thing is your mind. That's the only thing, is for you to see it differently. And so the next lesson says, I'm never upset for the reason I think. This idea, like the preceding one, can be used with any person, situation, or event you think is causing you pain. Apply it specifically to whatever you believe is the cause of your upset, using the description of the feeling in whatever term seems accurate to you. The upset may seem to be fear, worry, depression, anxiety, anger, hatred, jealousy, or any number of other forms, all of which will be perceived as different. This is not true. However, until you learn that form does not matter, each form becomes a proper subject for the exercises for the day, and then it gives us the practice with the fill in the blank. So, when using the thought for today for a specific perceived cause of upset of any form, we use both the name of the form in which you see the upset and the cause to which you ascribe it. For example, so I'm not angry at blank for the reason I think. So just think of an upset. Does everybody have one? Anyone not have one? Everyone's got one. You guys got one? Something you're upset about. Now we just fill in the blank. So, and now what he says is he wants you to locate the feeling around the upset. So he gives us a list. It may seem to be fear, worry, depression, anxiety, anger, hatred, jealousy, or any number of other forms, all of which will be perceived as different. So you all have the feeling? Anybody not have the feeling? Okay. So I am not blank, the feeling, at blank for the reason I think. And what the mind always wants to do with these lessons is go right down into thinking about why this should not be true. It just does, right? Like I'm not angry at blank for the reason I think, and then the mind goes, I'm angry because of this. Yeah. Like it just goes right down. And so it's the reason I love, and I always come back to Jesus as a teacher, is he keeps me on the mark. He's like, come back, come back, come back, come back, come back, come back. The other day I was reading in one of these lessons, he says, by now it should be obvious your lack of mental discipline and your need for structure. And he's like on lesson 100, right? It's like one of the later lessons, but he's saying, like and he kept telling, this is why I love this book so much, the Circle of Atonement book, because it has all the original notes that Jesus gave to Helen Schuckman and Bill Thetford while he was trying to get them to devote time to listening, to being still and listening. And they wouldn't do it. I don't do it. To this day, I'm just, wander right over there, wander right over here. And he's just like, come back, come back, come back. As soon as the mind starts going off into a belief, you become quicker and quicker to catch it. And one of the great things about a community like this and the online groups is you're not alone. I'm going to use you, Irene, because you reached out to me the other day. And Irene had a belief about herself, and she texted me, not even asking for help really, I don't remember, but she had a belief about herself. And when you don't carry the belief by yourself anymore. You don't try to sort it out alone. You know, like, okay, I can really sit quietly and I can do this work with my teacher, my guide. And if you can't find the peace there, then reach out. Like, find someone. And how long did it take for us to be in a space of total joy and celebration? Yeah, it was just like she forgot for a moment.
Repeat what she said.
She said just a few minutes.
2 minutes.
Do you want to say anything?
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Do you want to share anything?
Sure.
Put her on the spot. Do you want to come up?
Sure.
If you guys don't want to come up, always say no.
And then she'll pull you up there with
Yeah. No, I won't.
Even the cripple. So what I was feeling was, I just finished my new book, and we're working on the website and all the blah, blah, blah that goes.
But, okay, cut. Okay, do you see that?
Slipped right in.
Okay, so this, you guys all know Irene, right? Totally brilliant. I mean, you make everything fun. You're so clear. You have so much energy. You travel around the world now. And the mind, it just has to get in there and go blah, blah, blah. I just finished a book, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God. Okay, go on.
So before I went to Europe, I hurt my meniscus and dragged myself through Europe. And enjoyed a lot of it, right? I mean, I kept using the course like, are you not a body, all right? It's slowing you down, then enjoyed the slow down stuff, you know? And, but I started to feel so old. And with this new book, which I really thoroughly enjoyed writing, and it's got great reviews.
I read it, it's amazing.
I can't wait to give you all a copy, because I'm... So what I start telling myself is, oh, you're too old for this, you missed the boat, you know, everybody else has already said what's in this book. And then I thought, I can't go here. So I texted to Lisa, because I'm up really, really early.
I'm not sure that microphone is on.
Is it on?
I can hear you because you're talking to Lisa's microphone.
Okay. Oh.
We can still hear you here, though.
Okay, good. So what I was telling myself was, you know, I'm 71, that's a story, right? And that I just finished the second book, and telling myself, like, it's too late, you're too old, this has been told a million times, why are you bothering? And I'm feeling really old because of the leg, you know, that's the story. So anyway, I texted it to Lisa, because I just had to put it out somewhere, and I know she would appreciate it because you're a writer too, and you know how you can get in those slumps. And within minutes, as I'm texting to her, I'm going, that's not true. 27 people have said they really like it. All right, so maybe there's only 35 they're going to read it. It doesn't matter. I really learned a lot and gained a lot by writing it, and it'll just be what it is, you know. And time is an illusion. And so as I was writing to her, you know, I heard myself, which was part of putting it in the light and sharing it. And then she came back and told me I was fabulous. So it's kind of like hearing it from your mother, though, Lisa. My brain can like say, yeah, but she really loves you. It doesn't matter. You know, it's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Just what you said. You go right to the reason not to believe it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So thank you.
Thank you. I love you. And you see, that's where the mind just wants to say, well, now I have to heal this thing. Now I'm using a cane, and now I'm not being the light, because now look at what the body's doing. And the mind just never stops. It just wants to keep you in hell until you say enough. Enough. This is just one-day assignment. Remember, you're here sent by God on a one-day assignment to remember who we are and to light up the world. And you do it wherever you are by remembering who you are. It's that simple. And then really what he's saying is like we're healing the world, quote unquote, by healing the thoughts in our mind, because the world is the thoughts in our mind. So now all you're dedicated to is healing and forgiveness. And you're catching the thoughts and you're applying the lesson. So when I was looking at these early lessons again, how often he uses the word use and apply. Because if you're not using the lesson, if you're not using the practice, it's kind of like working out. You know, it's like you have an idea of yourself as fit and vibrant and healthy, and you're just thinking about doing things in a new way, but you're not actually doing them. Nothing changes. But when you start to use and apply, you begin to see changes. So he says, examine your mind for whatever is distressing you, regardless of how much or how little you think it is doing so. You may also find yourself less willing to apply today's ideas to some perceived sources of upset to others. If this occurs, think first of this: I cannot keep this form of upset and let the others go. For the purposes of these exercises, then, I will regard them all as the same. Search your mind for more than a minute or so and try to identify a number of different forms of upset that are disturbing you, regardless of the relative importance you may give them. So for 1 minute right now, search your mind. He says for no more than a minute or so. And now apply the idea for today, I'm never upset for the reason I think, to each of them, using the name of both the source of the upset you perceive and the feeling you experience. Here are some examples. I am not worried about blank for the reason I think. I am not depressed about blank for the reason I think. 3 or 4 times during the day is enough. And so I'm going through a couple of them just for example, but the way the workbook works, as you know, is 1 lesson a day. So you're just training. You're really just saying, okay, I'm going to make a commitment 1 year, all 365 lessons. I'm just going to do it. And it becomes simple. Like, to me, it's as simple as getting a copy of the book and leaving it by the bed. It's that simple. And you change your habits and your routines to include the mind training. You wake up in the morning, and all of us already have a morning routine, right? You just do. Even if you're unconscious of it, you do. You wake up, you get the coffee, and you take a shower, you get dressed, maybe you work out, maybe you meditate, maybe you feed the kids. But what this is asking us to rearrange our priorities to make this a priority, to make mind training a priority, and that it's the first thing that we do. I told Kelly Russell, my morning routine is, I love my morning routine. I spend at least 1 hour, usually 2 hours, with a visit with Jesus. And I get up, I get my coffee, and even the morning routine starts even before that. So I wake up, I'm always disoriented, always. I have very vivid dreams, and I come crashing back into the body every day. And that's just how it's been. I don't know. I just wake up, I'm like, oh man. Every day, you know, it's just like I'm tired when I wake up. I don't wake up joyful. I don't wake up energized. I just wake up like I've been out there traveling somewhere, and boom. And I don't get out of bed until I change my mind. And it's that fast. It's, Lord, here I am. I just remember, you have practices now that are in place. And I used to get up and go, go, go. Get up and crush it. You know, just get up and make things happen. I don't do that anymore. Because now I know I'm not alone. I know there's one with me who just makes everything effortless and easy. And I am in a collaboration now with this one. So I have to acknowledge the one that is with me as me. And so that's the first thing. It's like, okay, here I am, Lord. And then I get up. I make a coffee, I feed the cats, and then I go right back into bed. I go right back into bed with this or other books, my journal, my pen. No electronics, no computer, and I just hang out there for an hour at least. And sometimes it's just like, all right, keep going. And Kelly told me, she heard that, and now she does it. It's like, oh, that sounds like a good way to start the day. And you'll find your own morning routine. But it's basically to start to include. So if you're just starting the workbook lessons, that would be part of your new morning routine, is that you would wake up, do whatever you do, but then you do the lesson. You go right to the lesson, you read through it, you know that it's Jesus. Like that's, to me, was that I wish somebody had told me that when I first started, because I didn't know what this was. But we don't have that problem anymore because we have the internet, and everybody already knows, oh, this is the mind of Christ. And it's your teacher, it's your internal guide, which seems external to you. How cool is that? Speaking to you in a language you can understand and love, and fill in the blanks. So it's very simple, and you just dedicate some time every day. And he tells you there will be resistance. You will absolutely resist this. But he just says, just keep, and he even says in the first couple lessons, if you do this for 1 minute and you find it difficult to do, stop. He's just working with us in a very gentle way. And what happens is that my experience is that the commitment and the dedication just to do it, to have that little willingness to practice, is the light that dissolves everything that's not the light. So I'd love to just open this up for any comments, any sharing. If anyone has, you have some, I knew you had something.
I love it.
I was like, she's coming up.
I love you. Yeah, this is so much fun. I love the early lessons because that's really the heart of A Course in Miracles. It's where we really get to look at what is Jesus really teaching us. And I recently made 50 videos on the first 50 lessons, and I had such fun doing it because I got to really look at them again. And I used to avoid the first lessons when I'd go back after the year and do them again, because I've been doing this since 1989. I would just go, I don't want to do those. I'll just skip to the, you are love, and God loves you, and you're the holiness. And it was like, when I got with the master, and he's like, the first, 7 lessons are the crux of the entire Course in Miracles, because it brings you to the place where you see that all your thoughts are meaningless, because you're only seeing the past, and you're bringing your past memories into every present moment until you're aware that you don't have to keep doing that. But it takes practice and it takes work to get there. All of your thoughts, even about the good thoughts and the bad thoughts, like you think you're something that you're not. So how would you know what's good and bad? Right? You've started out with a false you, right? And that false you, this is what's so cool about the Course. The false you is the you that's trying to do A Course in Miracles. Right? And it's kind of silly, but you see that you that's doing that will never get to really experience A Course in Miracles. But that's okay, because it is, it keeps a gentle pace with you. It allows you to go, well, if you don't like it, just put it down. Because Jesus isn't trying to get you to increase your upset. He knows you're already upset because you don't know who you are. Right? You're living in a dream. You're totally deluded about who you are and what you're here to do. And then finally you go, the me that's trying to figure this out will never figure it out. So there's a lot of hope in that, because that's where the surrender comes, and you just give yourself to it and just go, I don't really know anything, I guess. And your attack thoughts are always going to keep attacking you until you're dead. Right? And so what do you want? Do you want that, or do you want to just really experience something completely different? The you that knows and remembers who you are is coaxing you on through the whole process. I'm doing A Course of Love now, and it's teaching that spacious self that is the real you. People call it an observer. We talked about that. There's so many teachers that teach the observer, the witness, the part of you that's noticing what you're thinking or noticing your reactions. That's the you that you really are seeking. It's never gone anywhere. You haven't lost it. It's still one. It's still what God made. It is what you are. And whatever process you use will work if you're really dedicated to it. And I just want to say thank you for going back to the early lessons, because the crux of the Course is in I see only the past, and I see nothing as it is now, because I'm making this up as I go. It's a dream. And I think when we because I work deeply with people, I really love getting to the place where you see it's impossible. Every thought you think about yourself is not true. None of them. And so you have to start to laugh, really laugh at yourself. And laugh at your thoughts about everything. Like even last week, today I was just cracking myself up. I'm so glad we're not talking about sex. Or money. It's like, those are the places where we really hold on and we really think there's a right and a wrong to sex and money and all that. There's no right and wrong.
Yep.
It's really not about judging yourself. It's about letting go of the judgment. And so the Course is one way. Byron Katie's work is amazing. I just read The Untethered Soul. I'm starting to read that. It's the same ideas constantly. That voice in your head, is it true? Is it causing you upset? Mm-hmm. You don't have to live there. So, thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And one of the things I'm grateful you just said is like with Gail, thank you so much for coming up here, because that was just really amazing demonstration of how we need to just use every thought in the beginning, even if it's a true thought like I am love and I am light, because those are true thoughts. But in the early stages of the training, the ego will take those ones and they will use those ones like that I'm light. And then it will use it to think it's doing something in the world. But the training is simply to remove the blocks to the awareness of the love that you are, to the presence of love. So we're not focusing on how to be the light and how to be the love and how to give and that's all ego. That will happen of itself. It literally starts to flow when the blocks are gone. And you'll know the difference. You know, because I've heard so many people in our programs who are out there extending. They just so much want to serve, and they are just devoted to God, and they're giving, but they still have the blocks there, and so it feels exhausting. It feels like at the end of the day, they just feel like, why don't I feel energized? Why do I feel this tiredness? And it's because you only have to remove the blocks, and you start you just start flowing, and then you stop doing all that stuff. You actually realize, oh, I don't need to help anybody anymore. Everyone's fine. You know, and so it's like you free yourself up now. So, you know, the other day, Bill and I were eating dinner, and I never know how to describe what I do. Never. Like, people will ask me, what do you do? I'm like, well, I don't know. And I don't really like saying I'm a spiritual teacher, and I don't know. It doesn't feel like I do anything. So I'm just thinking about in day-to-day interactions. Like, all day long, I'm interacting with things and people and situations, and I'm always listening. I'm always just there, present. And he said, you teach and train people to stop hurting themselves. And I was like, that is what I do, because I see how people hurt themselves. I see how I used to hurt myself. I'm fat, I'm old, I'm this, I'm got this going on, I got this. That's hurting myself. Why am I doing that? Why are you holding those thoughts about yourself? Stop it. Stop hurting yourself. And so we don't know how to do it. So Jesus gives us a mind training where we can begin to question the thoughts and the beliefs and the words, and then choose to shift to what you truly are. And so I'm very grateful. I want to bring up Bill. He's going to close us with a little meditation. Bill Free.
Wow, that was a great teaching this morning. And I think Lisa is a little bit like Oprah, because she just really does it right here. It's magical when you see it happening. It was like she has a gift of like undressing the ego, dissolving it, and bringing forth the presence of the self. It's just, and she does it like it's like nothing. So I love watching her. I love those thoughts don't mean anything, but it's a real demonstration of the teaching of the Course, and I love it. And I also love that, you know, we're all coming to this place of the I that she was describing. We're all coming to the place of the I that Monica was just talking about. That observer, that self that is always watching. Like when Lisa invited all of us to search our mind, what is it that is searching? What is it that's doing the observing, that's doing the noticing? That is the essential self. That's the thing that never changes. It's always on. It's been on since it came out of the womb. or the C-section. It's actually was on before that, but that's the first time it noticed itself in consciousness. And I'm just going to invite everyone to come to that place for a moment together. We'll just close this meeting with with the experience of being. We'll go to this place of presence. We're going to go to this place of quiet awareness. So just take a deep breath through your nose. Just be present. Just be aware. This I that does the noticing, this I that does the searching of the mind, this I that is what is real. This is the self. This is the self, the being, the light that you are. It has so many names. It has thousands of names, this I that you are. And most of them you're not. Because you, in its simplest form, you're just, you is. You're the is. You're not even the I, you're the is that God is. But we can rest in this place, this abiding place, with and as God. Abiding in the presence and as holiness, beingness. Oh, it's so awesome to know that we are what God is. And also God is our creator and our source. There is no place where He ends and we begin, because we're the image of what God is. And we're the full expression and wholeness of what God is. And this quiet place, this abiding place, the resting place, is home. This is pure presence of God. And you're not separate from God. This is you. This is love and peace. Joy is here, right here. And it's always been right here. It always will be. It's always right here. And so, whenever a situation in your life pulls your attention to it, one of these images of the false self, just come into this abiding and quiet place. And remember that nothing real can be threatened. And nothing unreal exists. And herein lies the peace of God. Because it's you. And it's your brother. And it's every living thing. This is our oneness. We're so grateful. We're so grateful to know the truth and to know the presence, the aliveness of our true identity in God. Thank you, God. Thank you for this awareness of being. Just rest here whenever you are troubled in any way. And this dissolves all temptation, completely undoes what's not real. And you are love. And so it is. Amen. You can open your eyes now, everyone. And that's that closing experience is it's the goal, that experience of knowing the self, of being the self, and having that light experience is the goal of the mind training. It's the goal of a course, is to know thyself. I am as God created me. And I would know my own self. Thank you all. It's time for us to close, and we'll just rise and everyone hold hands, and we'll have a closing prayer. And thank you for joining us, live streamers. You can stay with us for a few minutes for our closing prayer, and then we say thank you for joining us. You want to pray?
Yeah, sure. Close that circle, people.
Close the circle.
Everybody take a nice deep breath. That meditation felt good. Thank you, Holy Spirit, for gathering us here together. Friday morning group has always been a great safe haven for all of us to learn and grow and to read your word, Jesus, always. We are thankful for everyone present. Lisa for her teachings, Bill, everyone else that speaks. Thank you for all of us abiding in your love and knowing the truth of who we are. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. That was beautiful. Okay, I'm going to give our gratitude for the tithes and the offerings. We have a love box that's in the back, and we'll just give our gratitude to that. Divine love, as me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you for supporting us, everyone, for this ministry, and thank you, live streamers, for being with us. We love you.